Hi, so for my oral presentation, I've decided to compare and contrast a play that I went to go watch called Fences by August Wilson to A Raisin in the Sun and The Migrant Farmworker's Son. Migrant Farmworker's Son is by Silvia Gonzalez, Raisin in the Sun is by Lorraine Hansburry, and they're both books that we covered in our class. So, some of the similarities that I caught when I first went to go watch Fences was, to me, it was very similar to A Migrant Farmworker's Son. There was a culture clash between father and son. So in the case of Fences, it was between the father, who was Troy, and his son Corey. Troy was a former baseball player in the Negro Leagues, and he never got a shot to play in the major leagues because by the time that they were all integrated, he was an aging player. His son is a senior in high school, and he's been offered a scholarship to go play football in college. Now, they're clashing because of this. From what I interpreted, is mostly because Troy doesn't really understand the way that things are in this time period, and he's also somewhat resentful. We can also see this same kind of clash between Henry and Dad in Migrant Farmworker's Son. The son is living in a completely different generation and a different kind of place than his dad was growing up in. So his dad's resentful in that he's no longer respected the way he was in his old country, and he's not really in the loop, I guess you could say, which is the same as Troy in Fences. They're both hardworking men who had to deal with a lot of adversity to get to where they are to, and while you would think that they would want what's best for their sons, and they say that that's their eventual goal, they also seem to be somewhat hesitant and resentful to those better outcomes for them. They also both deal with physical abuse. As we know from A Migrant Farmworker's Son, the dad was physically abusive towards his son behind the mom's back, and Troy was physically abusive towards Corey, eventually kicking him out of the house, and that relationship was never reconciled like we saw in the play we covered in our class. Where they differ is that Fences deals a lot more with racism, while the Farmworker's Son deals a lot more with adversity within the family system. Next is Fences and A Raisin in the Sun. So they both actually had more similarities than differences. I was trying to find some differences, but they all ended up tying into the same thing, so I guess you could say they're mostly similar. The main similarity is having their dreams deferred, which was a major theme in A Raisin in the Sun. We saw every main character in that play not being able to realize their dreams, or finally feeling like they were going to get to where they wanted to go and having it all go wrong in the end. It wasn't quite on that level in Fences, but as I mentioned before, Troy wasn't able to play baseball because the leagues were segregated. So his dream of becoming a Major League Baseball player was deferred. And another dream deferred in Fences is that of his wife, Rose. She pretty much wanted the same things that we saw the women in A Raisin in the Sun want. She just wanted what was best for her family. She wanted peace, and she just wanted to be appreciated. That was deferred when Troy had an affair. However, Rose is seen as like the matriarch and caring, loving, although very strong character, because she decided to go ahead and set that aside and take Troy's other child in with her. Of course, we know the dreams that were deferred in A Raisin in the Sun, which was Walter's liquor store and Mama's want for a garden and a new home for her grandson. Both the main characters in Fences and A Raisin in the Sun are big dreamers and very, very stubborn. They feel that they know what's right. In the case of Walter, he feels that there's absolutely no reason why anyone shouldn't trust his vision, and Troy feels that there's absolutely no reason why he should be expected to accept his son Corey's wishes. They're both very stubborn, and unfortunately, in the case of Fences, Troy passes away, still with that type of image, and Walter gets to somewhat redeem himself. Another huge similarity between these two plays was the use of plants or flowers as symbolism. Of course, we have Mama's plant, which symbolizes hope in her family. She's constantly tending to this plant, and we see it kind of fighting through with no sunlight, which is basically what she feels her family's doing. They're getting by however they can. And in Fences, the mother's name is Rose, and they have their youngest daughter, Raynell, and they both are tending a garden, and they have their flowers. And these flowers that they're planting after Troy dies, they're laying out the seeds, and they're talking about new beginnings. So they symbolize just hope for a better future without Troy. Even though he did provide for them, he wasn't always the best person. So with him gone, they can hopefully start a new and more peaceful beginning. So that was my compare and contrast of 3 plays, which was Fences. I do recommend that you guys go see that. I'm pretty sure it's still playing at the Bruins Amphitheater in Orinda. It's a really nice outdoor venue. You guys should definitely take advantage and go see it. All right, thank you.